Hi guys, welcome to GemmaBeaMakes. I'm Gemma and this is my crafty channel where I talk about all the things that I've been making over the past couple of weeks. This particular week I'm going to talk to you about my knitting and some spinning that I've been doing. I haven't got loads and loads to show you this time. I'm going to try and make this a super short episode. I've just got a little bit of time this afternoon to try and squeeze you guys in, so I'll do my best. I've got no finished objects this time, but I have got one of my favourite whips that I've ever cast on, and I want to show you guys. Just before I show you my favourite, I am going to show you my travel knitting, and that is being held in my Yarn Lab bag. This was the first ever project bag that I ever bought. Oh gosh, inside it is another bag. Oh, that's bad. Oh, I did not sort out this before I started. In this Yarn Lab bag is actually two projects with the needles and things ready to go that I haven't cast on yet. It's there for next time. This is in my Mrs. Brown's bag. And it is a little headband that I have been making for myself. Oh, what's happened there? So this is a tube basically that I have been knitting, and I've got to the point now when it is the right size for me to graft it together. Now I am going to do a Kitchener stitch to graft it together. So I've got to the point where I've only done one side. I'm looking at it like, oh, what have I done? I've picked up half of the stitches. Now, by rights, I probably should have done a provisional cast on, but I didn't. I just did a normal cast on, and what I'm doing is just picking up the stitches and cutting the yarn and getting it into position. But it's merino and mohair held together. The yarn is from Along Avec Anna, and it is in the chestnut colourway. But it's not called chestnut because it's in French. But it's really, really nice, and it matches, well, me, but it also matches my coat and a scarf that I wear throughout the winter. We are getting to the end. Oh, it's March now, middle of March, and I'm probably not going to need this for much longer, but it'll be ready for me for next winter. But yes, so close to finishing. I just need to have one more session of picking up the stitches and a Kitchener, and I will have a finished object. I tried to get it done. I went to a birthday party. James went to a birthday party, and I sat and knit for the entire thing and nearly got it finished, but not quite. So my next whip is a new cast on, and I was talking to you guys last time about casting on a hand-spun blanket. I've absolutely fallen in love with this blanket, and I've knit on it nearly every single night this week since I spoke to you guys. It took a little time to pull out all those shawls. Oh, I can still feel it now at the back of my throat. No, I'm kidding, but I can. And to organise all of my hand-spun yarn, because I didn't realise how much I actually had, and there was really quite a lot. And I managed to organise it because I was unsure about how I was going to sort out my colours, but I managed to organise it into like colourway bags. So this bag here, this is one of my handmade bags. I just punched myself in the face then. Has got all the blue. So there's lots of blue and greens. No, not green, grey. So blue and greys. But let me show you. So I started with my first ever hand-spun yarn. So I started the hand-spun blanket with the first ever that I've ever spun. And you can see how crazy that is. It's all lumpy bumpy and textured, and I love it. I love how it's turned out. So what I did, my pattern that I've chosen is a garter stitch square basically, with an I-cord edging. So my pattern is knit 3, increase 1. So I did a knit front and back, knit to the end and slip the last 3 stitches with the yarn in front. That's it. I'm going to quickly write it in the description below. It's 1 line, it's 1 pattern, and I just repeated it, and I've just repeated it and repeated it. So I knew I wanted to start with this. I think it went quite nicely into this one, and then I went to this one, and then I got some of these creams, and it was at this point that I pulled out the rest of all the shawls and organised my yarn, because I was like, where am I going with this? And I went into all these purples, and I'm slowly making my way into the blue. And what I'm doing is holding 2 yarns together and just attaching a different one as it comes, basically. So I don't know, it's absolutely massive now. So starts here. It's my full wingspan, arm span. I don't have wings. It's my full arm span now. I think I am going to get a little bit longer. I really want it, the width of it to be the length of my body. So we're really quite, you know, we're not far off. I'm not stood up. Let's have a little look. Oh, we're not bad actually. I'd say another, I don't know, 10 inches or something. I think I'd like it another 10 inches, and then I'm going to change it into knitting into a rectangle, and then I'll close it back up again. So much fun. I love how the whole texture is so warm. Yeah, I don't think there's much more because I'm just really enjoying the yarn. So much more than I did when it was the crocheted shawl. There's this bit here, if you can see this panel here, was probably too thick. It could have just been held, you can't really see. That's a good thing if you can't really see, but it's quite, it's definitely thicker than the rest. But you know, you guys can't see it, so it doesn't really matter, does it? It's just a blanket, and I'm hoping to take it, it's going to be one of my camping blankets to keep us nice and warm when we're camping. That's everything that I've been knitting on. It doesn't seem much, does it? And it's all garter stitch, all knit, but it's really what I've been enjoying. I do want to cast on something that maybe I'll take a little bit more brain power at the minute, but I haven't found the right pattern. I don't have the right yarns for the right pattern at the minute, and because I'm enjoying getting rid of all this big stash that I have, this blanket is taking in all of my knitting time at the minute. Wow, the sun is so bright down there. It is a bouncing reflection off the cars. It's giving me a good glow. Yeah, so this is taking, this blanket is taking up all of my knitting love at the minute. But that's everything that I've been doing on the knitting side. I have been doing lots of spinning. If you saw my last episode, I know it was like an hour long. If you got to the end, you'll know that I've been taking part. I've started doing the spinning certificate of achievement through the National Guild of Spinners, Weavers and Dyers, and I've been learning how to do a boucle yarn. Now, I've not got super duper far with it, but I have managed to do my first ever skein of boucle. So last time I spoke to you guys, I had spun the core yarn, I think, no, the binding yarn and the looping yarn. So for a boucle you need 3 yarns. You need a core, a binding yarn and a looping yarn to make this with all this crazy texture. Now this is not the best example of a boucle. I did not quite get it right at all. There's some places that I really enjoy, like this guy here. Let's see if we can see that. Doesn't really want to, well, you can kind of see it. So you can kind of see what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to loop, and then the binder is supposed to give it that extra little bit of loop. And in some places it really worked, and in other places it really didn't. The looping yarn, the merino that I was spinning, was really hard to spin. It's got really big thick bits in it, thin bits in it, really solid bits, really overspun bits, and it really didn't work. So, and I don't really like the boucle of the pink either. I didn't really like the fact that the blue can be seen over the top of the pink. It's not my favourite skein of yarn that I've ever spun, but I do like how soft it is. It's lovely and bouncy. I think it'll look fab in some sort of textured piece of weaving, excuse me, which is what I was going for. My next plan was to try and get some blue as a looping yarn. So I think I've run ahead of myself. On my lazy Kate here, I have spun some bio nylon on my electric eel wheel nano. It comes out as a really fine, really strong thread. This is both singles. I chose the blue as my binding yarn, so it's spun in one direction, and the pink is the core yarn, so that is spun in the opposite direction. And then I've chosen 2 different types of looping yarns to go around it. I wanted blue this time because I wanted the binding yarn to not clash. So I have this bobbin of yarn. This is a wool and bamboo mix, and I love how this has turned out. Oops, excuse me. The idea with this one was to try and just make it as even as possible. I wanted to spin it a little bit thicker than what it was wanting to do. It wanted to come out as a really fine yarn, but I did want to give it a little bit more thickness, more of a fingering weight than the lace weight that it was trying to do. So, but just to give it that really even, and it's super squishy, really, really nice fibre there. And then this one is also another looping yarn, and I spun this one on my eel wheel nano, and this looks a super glitzy. I can't remember what the fibre content is, but it's got this super glitz to it. You can see it all sparkling there. It's got a crazy little halo to it as well. And this came out, again, super. I just wanted a nice even spin. After that lumpy bumpy overspun pink, I wanted to see what these guys could do. And this one came out much finer because it's spun on the eel wheel nano, which spins a really nice fine yarn. I don't know if you've noticed, have you seen my little bobbins? Me and David got guess who's out again? Every time I sit down and talk to you guys, my neighbours are out. So me and David got a 3D printer, and these little bobbins were available, already done online on a website that we found called Thingiverse. It gives you like 3D printed files. And we've just had fun working out how to use the 3D printer and printing off loads of really random stuff. But how cool is that? I'm actually managed to print myself a little nano bobbin, and then it needs some sanding and a little bit of TLC once it's finished. The plastic that it uses is not actually plastic, it's like a cornstarch material, so it's all kind of biodegradable. I'm not like filling the world full of plastic that doesn't need to be done. But yeah, how cool is that? I was really, really chuffed with it. So that is my exciting news of this month, is that me and David are currently designing an electric wheel, because I've started doing all this art yarn and I've my wheels in my house that I have are the electric eel wheel Nano, which is really not very good for art yarn whatsoever. It's very, very small. And my Ashford traditional. And again, I've been really struggling with plying and looping of these two guys. So, well, I didn't bring them over. One sec, let me go get these. Okay. This tiny, tiny little skein is this glitzy one. So I've looped it around a pink core and bind it with the dark blue. Because I only need a sample for as a sample, because I only need a small amount to show my practice and my samples. This is literally how much I did. Now, again, I tried to loop this one too much, I think. But it's working out all right. It's just very overspun. So this time, instead of overspun singles, I've overspun the loops. And I've put too many loops on. And when I got to the end, this happened. So there's no extra looping there. It's just like a big giant coil that's all stuck. And again, this bit here, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, basically. But again, learn so much more. I can't lots of over twisting and over spinning in this. Yeah, so there's lots of, it's definitely a learning curve. I am enjoying it. I don't think when it comes to actually doing my final big product, I've got to do 100 grams, not 100 grams. It has to be 100 meters long, my final boucle skein that you have to hand in as part of the course. I can imagine that's going to take so long. This little sample here, this little tiny mini skein, took hours. I managed to get a little sample on. I've got lots of these samples of singles and samples of badly done bits, so I've been saving all these little bits. Yeah, sorry, I'm not being very articulate, am I? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to say it's all practice. It's all practice. I am enjoying it, but it is taking a very long time. But I did manage to sit down and get lots of it written up. I didn't want to leave the write-up to the very last minute. You know, there's a Facebook group that's everybody that takes part in this, but not everybody. But if you want, it's a help group. You know, you can post what you're doing at the time. And I saw a post there yesterday of a lady that had done all of her spinning. She said, I finished all of my spinning for the certificate. Now I've just got to write it up. And I thought I'm like, how are you going to remember what you did for the past 3 years? So I have been taking meticulous notes, and I'd quite like to get one yarn done at a time, which is why I haven't started my fleece yet. If you didn't know, I got myself a fleece, but it's hiding in my shed. It'll be ready for when the weather turns a bit warmer. The weather's so random at the minute. How beautiful sunny it is today. But I've actually got the remnants of a snowman on my grass. So yeah, it's still cold. So that was quite quick, wasn't it? I managed to talk about everything that I've been doing in such a short amount of time. Did I tell you that I'm designing a spinning wheel? I know I just really mentioned it really briefly just then, but I'm so excited because I've got the small eel wheel and I've got the Ashford, I wanted to design myself a wheel that I can make art yarn on. And because David is an electronics designer and has worked on manufacturing of products for years and years, we found that there's a file already on Thingiverse, the website that has all these 3D printed files, but it's too big for the machine that we have. We've got quite a hobbyist 3D printer, and the one that's available is there. It looks brilliant. It's got all the bits and bats that you need, but our machine will not print that. And David's really looked into it and he's ordered some bits. So we've got some motors coming, and I've got some big giant bearings that have got a nice, it's like a 2 centimetre hole in the middle. So hopefully the orifice of my spinning wheel will be about 2 centimetres. Anyway, I'm so excited. I could talk to you in lots and lots of detail about the designing and the excitement that I've got. Well, that both me and David are doing like a joint project with this 3D printer. But I'm not going to. Let me show you what I did print out though, one sec. Okay, are you ready for the geek that I am? These are what I did. No good, can't hear you. I love these little guys. I need you to write in the comments if you know who they are. So you can see they started orange, and I primed them and painted them and give them a bit of weathering, and I absolutely love them. So I'm going to be putting these guys in a little frame and giving to my best friend for his birthday, because we have a mutual love of labyrinth. Yeah, how cool are they? I absolutely love them. I think they turned out absolutely fabulous. So cool. Anyway, so that's what I've been up to the past couple of weeks, literally playing with 3D printers and knitting on absolutely giant hand-spun blankets. Oh my God, it is so warm. Thank you for joining me, guys. As always, if you got to the end, it's because we're besties. And I think you should give me a little thumbs up. Thanks so much. Oh, that did go quickly today. Hopefully it's much shorter than an hour. Thank you so much, guys. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Bye.